Jesus Christ, boys. I told you, call me Scorpion.
Greetings, Trailer Park residents. Welcome to episode 84 of the Lazor podcast, the show where we comb through random episodes of classic TV with a fine-tooth laser. I am, as always, Christopher Siege, one of your hosts.
And I am only sometimes NeoCal, your other host.
And this week on the Lazor podcast, we are finally going to get our grade 10 because we are talking about Trailer Park Boys.
Guys.
Let's get drunk and eat chicken fingers.
Anybody see my kid?
Boy, something really weird's going on here.
The fever is spreading. An all-new season of Trailer Park Boys premieres April 11th, a showcase original series.
What are you looking at, pups? Nothing. For glasses.
Oh, fucking finally.
Now, for those who don't know, Trailer Park Boys was a Canadian show, one of the quintessential Canadian comedies that I think premiered in 1999, I want to say.
Oh, it feels like forever.
No,
Been around a
2001.
long ass time. 2001.
So the
Another
show had,
golden year, 2001.
the show had two runs. It ran from 1997 to 2007, my formative years, if you will. And Netflix later revived it for quite a few more seasons, actually, starting in 2014. I didn't realize there was this much Trailer Park Boys on Netflix.
Like
There-
half of it is when it was reborn, so to speak.
Yeah, they did 5 more seasons on Netflix in the mid to late 2010s.
Yeah, 5 more seasons, and I think Netflix did 4 movies,
Well,
or maybe
yeah,
those were independent.
there were a couple of movies. How many movies were there? I remember Trailer Park Boys, the movie, coming out on DVD, because I'm pretty sure that was when they came out when we worked at Blockbuster back in the day.
I know there was a Christmas one, maybe, but yeah, we worked at Blockbuster when one of them came out. Oh, there's 3.
Right. So
A movie.
I worked
Countdown
at
to Liquor Day.
I worked at Movie Gallery with when the movie came out, and then we worked at Blockbuster when Countdown to Liquor Day came out, and then
And I think I watched Don't Legalize It on Netflix a couple of years after it had come out.
right, I don't think I've seen Don't Legalize It, actually.
That one was pretty good. Basically, well, fuck Bubbles. How are we supposed to make any money when we can't compete with what did they say? We can't compete with Superstore if they're selling the shit over the counter. And so they were big lobbyists supporting like all the conservatives trying to not legalize it.
That's
And they were
funny.
going to these rallies like selling it to people, and it was like, oh, you want garbage like over the counter stuff, or you want the good shit? And they like open up their the back of the van and be like, oh, we got Tropicana, we got like Sticky Blue, like all of these like street names for
A
like
lot
the different strands, different types.
a lot of people that I know, which to be fair, I don't really hang out with stoners anymore. But I did a lot when I was younger.
As one does.
From what I observed, everyone who was a stoner before it became legalized continued buying it illegally because they said that stuff was better.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah,
What are you gonna do, man?
I don't know. For the record, folks, and I say this with the utmost sincerity because I'm based in Canada and weed is legal here now. So I'm not saying this just to, potentially avoid the getting fucked by the long dick of the law, so to speak. But yeah, I don't smoke pot. Don't really enjoy it. I did a lot when I was a teenager, but every time as an like every time as an adult I've tried smoking it. I just don't enjoy it.
Yes, contrary to popular belief, we don't, and we were never really into it ever anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I was quite into it when I was in my mid to late teens, but I remember having a moment where I think I was about 20 years old, and I was like quite a hardcore stoner for a couple of years there because I was dealing with a head injury that like prevented me from working. So it's like I just smoked pot and played video games and watched TV all day.
Well, worst case Ontario, we go back to selling dope. There was a bang set.
Sorry, I just heard a noise.
There's a B&E happening at Siege's house right now.
Right, I'm gonna go check that out. One
Yeah,
second.
let's pause.
Yes, I have no idea what that was. But yeah. Being that I live alone, anytime I hear like a weird noise, because there's like literally no one else here to make weird noises,
It's either a break and enter or a poltergeist.
I feel it's worth investigating. But yeah, I don't. Nothing seems out of the ordinary, so we're fine.
Excuse me. But yeah, all right.
Anyway,
What were we talking about, bud? Yeah. The Trailer Park Boys. Yeah, 3 movies, a bunch of seasons. Every American friend I've introduced to the show, I've seen an intermediate amount of it, but here or there. I've never like from the beginning to the end watched it. And it's what's the I always forget this word. Not serialized, but sorry, not episodic, but serialized. There we go.
yeah.
Thank you, Cal. It's serialized enough that in the case of Siege and I, because I think we both have the same opinion, if you do jump into like season 5, like random episode, maybe from the beginning of any season, but there are some plot points that we jumped into this time.
I had no idea what was going on in this episode.
I was intrigued about what was going on, but we were caught in the middle of like 3 subplots.
Yeah.
And I didn't like Randy's marrying
Lucy, who is Ricky's baby
Ricky's
mama.
ex. Yeah. Wait, no, she's pregnant in this. Is she? She's
I think she
we watched
is.
this last week, though.
I think
Sorry.
she is, but they had I think a daughter together. Who
Oh yeah, definitely.
Earlier
Her
in
name's
earlier in the show was like I don't know, like 10 or something.
she started. Oh yeah, the actress for that started at only 5 years old in the Trailer Park Boys.
Oh okay.
In the original black and white pilot program. Oh, interesting. Yeah, the actress is aged up with the. Did you know that Elliot Page was on the show when they were really young? Have you seen season 1?
Yes.
Yeah, there's a lot of heart, but I'm all over the place now. So we are covering season 7, episode 8. Let the liquor do the talking. And again, it's a little.
I believe
hard
it is
to follow.
episode 53 overall, which originally aired. By the way, this is the original run, the run from 2001 to 2007. We kind of decided on. We mutually agreed, like on the last episode of the podcast, that we were only going to include like the initial run.
Yeah.
Just which I don't know, purely for arbitrary
course.
reasons, but
Yeah.
it's just what we went with. Yeah, it is episode 53 overall, which aired on May 27th of 2007.
Yeah, and May of 2007.
I know, it's funny because we were just On the Patreon exclusive podcast, the Super Lasercomb Patreon Super Show, we were talking about photos of us from 2007, which we shared on our Discord, which you should join if you have not. Link in the description.
Yeah, a blast from the past, and here we are revisiting 2007. I never
2007 was a wild year for me, dude. I
the way
did.
my memory works is like years blur together for me, but
I'm really
those
good at
were
remembering things like
you
that.
are dates. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
really good at dates.
Dates and eras, yeah.
Yeah. I was in Nanaimo, working part-time at fucking Blockbuster.
I was in my second year of university. I was going clubbing a lot. I was going to karaoke a lot,
Right. No, I wasn't at where was I?
doing
No,
lots of
I was
drinking,
working in Tassus.
partying,
Whoops, I shouldn't have. Oh, whatever.
drugs, sex, all of that. 2007
Rock and roll.
was one of like probably the most wild year of my life.
I think I was just working, making money. Yeah. So nothing too wild for me.
Oh
Lots
well.
of memories of North Island.
I got up to enough
princess.
shit for both of us, I assure you.
There you go. Yeah. But yeah, with Trailer Park Boys, I think we're gonna talk about the more broad strokes of Trailer Park Boys, what it's about, what it's like, because we can't do one, we had to skip a week. It's been a week since both of us watched it. But two, we're in the middle and near the end of like near to the end part of a season where we have no idea what's going on. It's interesting but I'm gonna go over the basic beats, if that's okay with
That's what I was thinking too. So,
yeah.
like in broad strokes, so what's going on in this episode is Bubbles is wanted for stealing Patrick Swayze's train. Presumably not a full-size train, but a model train. But the episode
something
isn't...
they actually did, which we find out later. I
Oh,
thought
okay.
it was someone who looked like him, but no, they're actually packing drugs into a model train.
Yeah. That was owned by Patrick Swayze, apparently.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
So he takes on a new alias.
Yeah, because he
where's
sees
the sweet
he sees a police like sketch of him like on a
and it's
newspaper.
unquestionably Bubbles.
Yeah.
And so he takes on a new alias, Scorpion, who has curly hair, talks in a deeper voice,
and wears a suit straight out of the 1970s.
And what has he got? Is it like a red leather jacket or a red blazer? Like something like
It's a
that.
red like leather blazer. And he's got like I think like
and a belt buckle with a scorpion cast in resin on it specifically. Oh, I've got this belt buckle. Just call me Scorpion, boys.
Yeah, and
that fools absolutely nobody.
I think he's wearing like plaid bell bottoms and like a turtleneck
and like snake skin boots or something.
Yeah,
it's this other persona. But it fools absolutely nobody. Oh, except like Leahy. No, like Randy or someone. Like someone drives by and they're like, "Who's that guy?" Oh, maybe Ricky. Or someone unexpected.
No, Ricky and Julian definitely they recognize him right away.
Right. They see him walking by and they lean out the window and they're like, "Hey, Bubbles?
Right."
What the fuck?
I think it was Mr. Leahy because Mr. Leahy is like always drunk. And he's so drunk that he didn't recognize that this was Bubbles.
So the ongoing thing with Mr. Leahy, which is the park supervisor, but he acts like a cop. That's his shtick. And throughout any season, he's in different levels of inebriation. Let's say. In this, he is particularly shit-faced.
And he has a...
Like, even for Leahy.
He has a very bizarre sexual relationship with Ricky.
So there's a very heavily implied but never explicitly stated relationship between nor shown relationship between Leahy and Randy. Randy is his assistant,
Yeah.
and he's a dude with a gigantic beer gut, but he's really nice and
Yeah.
compassionate. But for some reason, he just I can't leave Leahy behind. You know, he's always his for some reason. He's always, you know, has a soft spot for going back and helping try to keep order in the park with Leahy. And as a result, you know, nobody really likes those two.
And he's really into cheeseburgers. That's his thing. Is
And
he's always barbecuing cheeseburgers.
shirtless all the
Shirtless.
time.
Yeah.
Which is if you've ever barbecued, uh he's a brave man.
It's ill-advised.
And it's particularly gross because his gut is basically touching the barbecue at any given time. But you know, slicked back hair, like nice pants. But he's just shirtless. And as somebody who gets overheated like quite easily, I don't know, I identify with that, man. I don't like I have all this fashionable clothes that I can't wear most of the year, which is why I also like the colder months, because then I could wear more clothes. So I don't like Leahy, but I like the character Leahy on the show. But I don't like I identify with with Ricky, Bubbles, and Julian, because, well, you know what? Like, they just don't like pigs, and Leahy's worse. He's not
I
even a
think
pig. He's a
Julian
wannabe
is
pig.
probably the one that I relate with the most.
I think Ricky's the one I relate to.
Ricky
the
actually
most.
reminds me like 1-to-1 of a dude that I knew when I was in my late teens
I'm
to
not
early
nearly
20s.
dumb enough to. He's the heart. If you've watched any seasons of Trailer Park Boys, he's the heart.
He's only got his grade 10.
He's only got his grade 10.
I remember one episode where like that was like a big like plot point where he like I think he was trying to get a job or something and he kept being like I've only got my grade 10 as if
Yeah,
like
he
that's
needed
some sort
his-
of like academic accomplishment.
Yeah. What are some of the other beats of the episode? Randy's getting married to Lucy
Yeah, Randy is getting married to Lucy for some reason. I was like, huh, I guess him and Leahy aren't together anymore.
because Lucy
Lo and behold,
proposed to him because I guess, well, there's just not that many quality guys in the park. I don't know. We haven't seen the season. There's probably like other reasons, but she proposes to him and he's going along with it. Randy's hand is in a cast.
for some reason, lo and behold, at the end of the episode, Mr. Leahy convinces Randy to break it off with her and like come back to him.
Yeah. But what are some of the beats? Yeah, they're getting ready for the wedding. There's one part that I thought was like really funny. They're going to one of their middlemen to make sure that the heist goes through, hiding all this weed inside of like this train, right?
The Swayze Express.
The Swayze Express, using milk cartons and stuffing the milk cartons full of, because milk cartons you can just like close and then like open easily, stuffing them full of all the bud. And there's one part that made me laugh. He's talking to the guy and he's like just glue them on here like this. Like, this is just dumb. You got to jam it in. And he's giving him this. I was just muted. He's giving him this for some reason people look up to Ricky as being like really smart and having good ideas in the trailer park. And people look up to Julian for being the leader who keeps the peace.
Well, Ricky is not smart. I don't think anyone like looks at him as being smart. He's just like kind of a schemer. Like he's the guy who like comes up with like
Yeah, but they mistake that for intel. Or not everybody, but some do.
And Julian out of all of them is the only one with like a real like firm head on his shoulders.
So Julian is of the three, because they can get quite ridiculous. I wouldn't even say, because even even he is kind of ridiculous. The straight man of the
Also,
humor
also
bunch,
Julian
right?
always has a rum and coke in hand. That's
Okay,
like one of his character traits.
let's talk about that beat. So the character trait of Julian is he's always got a rum and coke.
Always.
And every once in a while, but most of the time
I'm pretty
not,
sure
somebody will point that out to him. It's like, Jesus, it's 9 a.m. And he's like, so what? Right? And
I'm
he's
pretty
sipping
sure I
a rum and
remember.
coke at every time.
I'm pretty sure I
Every scene.
remember. I could remember like one episode where he gets into like a car accident or
You are not
something,
misremembering, sir.
and like the car like flips over or something, and like
and he's like, oh fuck, and he like
Julian-
crawls out of the wreck.
Julian gets out and he's still got the rum and coke in hand, which is not spilled, even though the car's like flipped over.
That's the gag. Whenever they're in a car accident, whenever something happens, whenever he's tackled or whatever, he is an elite acrobat when it comes to
saving the rum and coke.
to saving the rum and coke. No alcohol abuse for him, and the nobody draws attention to it, but all of the humor in it is delivered in, and we haven't talked about this yet because we're so used to the show being in our past, in our history, in the zeitgeist of pop culture.
Canadian pop culture specifically.
Canadian pop culture. The show is shot as if it's like
a documentary.
Film crew following actual events. As in, the film crew are characters. Like the characters will be like, hey, follow me, come in here. Or they'll put their hand to the camera sometimes and be like, oh, fuck off, I need to talk to my ex.
Get that fucking camera out of my face. Like right? That kind of thing.
That's the gag there. And
see, and this show was doing the fake documentary thing like years before The Office was.
Yes. I don't know about the British Office or when that came about, but I had never seen it. Was the British Office like that?
I've never seen it. I've never seen the British Office.
Yeah,
Speaking of mockumentaries, you know what I just found out the other day is that there's a sequel to Spinal Tap coming out. It's like actually filming right now.
I'm not excited about that.
I know, the movie came out over 40 years ago. Like
they're dredging up. They're scooping the dredges from the bottom of the barrel. We're not even scooping from the bottom of the barrel anymore in Hollywood. We're like scooping from like the sewer grate.
Right.
Like, oh, remember these member berries? Nom, nom, nom. Remember this is Spinal Tap? People will give us money for this. I don't care, man.
We have barbecued so many burgers on this Hollywood grill that now they're not even serving us burgers anymore. They're scraping all of the gunk off of the grill and putting that on a bun.
There's enough shit and gunk on the grill that you can scrape that off in thick enough layers that you can put that
on a bun and give it to audiences
and serve it. And they'll go, it tastes like how I remember my childhood did. I don't. And you know what? None of this stuff is good. Like when they made it all, maybe you can recall something earlier, but for me, it started with Dumb and Dumber or Dumb and Dumber 3 or whatever it was. It started there for me. And then whenever it would be, and another one was Zoolander 2.
Zoolander 2 is not good. And I love the first Zoolander movie.
Oh,
I adore that movie. I saw it in theaters back in the day.
The people that criticize it, by the way, you cannot like it. It's the same thing with Austin Powers. But fuck it. You don't like Austin Powers. Yeah. I really do. But I like Zoolander. We like Zoolander. And Two-Lander, I feel like they missed out.
I know, right?
Two-Lander, not good. And you know what? They're unapologetically full steam ahead. They're you know how like the blah 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 beat a dead horse.
Yeah.
They've turned the dead horse into a zombie, and they're beating that one to death.
You know, one I will defend though is Anchorman 2. I genuinely think Anchorman 2 is quite funny.
Well, how many years in between?
10.
That's a long. Was it really that long?
Yeah, the first one came out in 2003 or 2004, and the second one came out in 2013.
Anchorman 2 is arguably better.
Oh, it's much better than Zoolander number 2.
But
Zoolander number two. Number two describes that movie.
but I think that's an exception to the let's dredge up sequels to things. I don't even know how did I start ranting about this? Oh, because Hollywood just keeps being like, oh fuck, what do we got? What do people like? Kids like the 90s, right? Oh, Beetlejuice 2 is coming out.
I'm intrigued by that one.
I'm holding a wall up. I'm excited because it's actually Keaton and Ryder.
Tim Burton.
And it's
back.
Tim, right?
Although I would say Tim Burton has not been Tim Burton for at least like 20 years now. I think the last like great Tim Burton movie was probably Sleepy Hollow.
Oh,
that came out in 99.
Yeah. I mean, I liked Sweeney Todd a lot. It's not for everyone, but I really like Sweeney Todd.
I can't speak to Sweeney Todd directly because although I saw it in theaters, I was very inebriated on
I was high
things
as a kite back then. I got
basically.
you. Yeah.
I'm
really
not talking like marijuana here.
We ain't talking about the legal stuff. Illegal. Delegalize it. I really liked it. I watched it with my partner and we both really liked it. So I've seen it a few times.
Also for me, cannibalism is kind of a like big like no-go generally in
it's not a good thing in the movie, but I know what you mean. If the theme of tricking patrons into eating their fellows is not easily digestible for most audiences.
Pun intended. No, it's not even the tricking thing. I just like I can't really watch horror movies about like cannibalism or like I can't do it. I'm just so like repulsed by the concept of it.
So that repulsion effect that Hannibal Lecter has on a lot of people, that affects you. Like that's freaky for you?
Ironically, despite
Oh.
that, I am actually a really big fan of the 1986 Michael Mann film Manhunter, which was the first on-screen depiction of Hannibal Lecter. He was played by Brian Cox in that film.
Right, I've never seen that.
It's so good, dude. If you love like like the most like 80st of 80s,
Okay.
and like just in terms of like pure style, like you're gonna love that movie.
I need to watch this because I am a fan of 80th of 80s.
Yeah. It is such an 80s movie in all the best ways. Yeah. Manhunter, definitely worth watching.
And before you get on our ass for going off topic, before we started recording, we were like, we're allowed to tangent this one because we've only got like 15 minutes of things to talk about.
Yeah, basically.
Anyways, back to the the gag that I really liked is he's instructing one of his peers how to hide the dope in the train, and he hands him this tape.
Right.
And he's like, hey, this is my good tape. So don't fuck around. Don't lose this tape. And the guy picks it up and it recounts this scene. And Julian is talking to him later and he's like, oh, Ricky lent me his good tape. And Julian's like, because Ricky's like, this is my good tape. Don't fuck it up. And Julian's like, oh, yeah, that is good tape. Or something like that. There's like a gag in there. And oh, that brings me back to my like that. Okay. I have actually spent numerous years growing up in a trailer park, and someone talking about their good tape just fucking, and other people knowing, oh yeah, that's Ricky's good tape, knowing like, did you steal my good tape? Like, these are real fucking things I dealt with, man. Like your cousin like stealing your good tape, and it's just like boxing tape. Right, like that clear boxing tape.
So as someone who didn't grow up in a trailer park per se, but I grew up in like apartment complexes, like very low income apartment complexes that were basically
with
trailer
a whole
parks.
bunch of other poor kids and with
yeah. Conflict is in those kind of environments, conflict is often is very frequently instigated over like the most like mundane things and
Yeah.
incidental things that like most people would just find outrageously idiotic.
The cops are called a lot in our childhood, folks, um, over the stupidest shit. And Trailer Park Boys is a good example of it. And I've I one of my exes, the one from Chicago, she really likes Trailer Park Boys. She's seen more of it than I have. I
Really?
got her like onto it, and she ended up really fucking liking it. Yeah. Um, and as far as I know, she had like a middle class like upbringing, but still ended up really, really liking it. So I don't know if it's a matter of I can relate to this a little too much that
Yeah.
either puts me onto it or off of it. Like the bottle kids that like ride by and they just whip empty glass like beer bottles at like a car or like whatever onto the ground, right?
Bubbles, one of his thing, like frequent things, is like he'll like recover like stolen shopping carts to return that,
Thank you
basically
for
to ransom them back to the stores.
so his thing is selling back grocery carts to the stores for what is it, $5 a piece?
Yeah,
Because for
something like
them to
that, yeah.
make it like yeah, more than just like the return of like the coin or the quarter or whatever, right?
Yeah,
And that's one of his side gigs is he
yeah.
gathers up the shopping cart and he's the one stealing the shopping carts to
Yeah.
ransom back anyway, but he gets
Most of the
about
time,
five
yeah.
dollars
Sometimes though, he'll find like
off in the
a,
bush, the
off in the
ledges.
bush
Yeah.
or like in a lake or something. He'll like go and like fish out like a bunch of shopping carts.
He'll take a grappling hook and he'll go and dredge them out of the pond. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's funny when seeing the manager like come out and chase him away because he's pushing shopping carts down into the ditches and stuff. And it's
And yeah, so like little like side gigs and schemes like that are like we
they're
all
too
knew
close to home.
we all knew
Like
someone who, not that specifically, but I think me and Cal both
things
knew
like
people
that.
who did like stupid little things like that to just make like a few bucks.
Yeah. Ricky, so Ricky wears tearaways, like the Adidas with the stripes on the side,
Those were in style at the time.
and he wears the graphic, oversized, they usually have in this episode, they're dragons with like the what were those style of shirts called? They often had like flames or dragons on them. They had the wide collar, the button-up shirts. I
Oh,
can't
they're
remember.
bowling shirts.
Bowling shirts.
Those were also
That
in
was
style at the
that was
time.
me in the early. That was me from like 2000 to 2006. Like a lot. I've got some pictures
I never
that I
got
can
on the
share.
I never got on like the skater bowling shirt trend.
I just I've got some pictures. But the thing is, because Ricky reached adulthood at that time, that style just stayed with him. And there's so much attention to detail and care that the writers put in. That's why I want to talk about the show in broad strokes rather than this particular one episode. Because like, oh hey, don't lose this tape. This is my good tape. And like shit like Ricky wearing like tearaways and the dragon print like bowler shirt. There's so much attention to detail, right? And like Bubbles like really caring about cats and his
Hmm.
cat sanctuaries. Um,
Which,
Ricky
if you're
really
watching the
caring
video
about
version,
kids and wanting to be a good. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, if you're watching the video version, my background right now is a cat pushing a shopping cart because when I was looking for an image to use for my background, I meant to type in shopping carts, and I ended up accidentally typing in shopping cats.
He laughed for like a good
I,
30 seconds about that because he wasn't expecting it.
I wasn't expecting it, so I laughed hysterically for, yeah, a good like 30 seconds or so. And then I'm like, no, you know what? Bubbles collects shopping carts and he really likes kitties.
That's
So it works.
it fucking works. Oh, I forgot that Bubbles has like a, what are those called? The bolo like tie, the one with like the little like a fixture, like the buckle.
I know the
Yeah,
ones you mean. I can't remember the name of them. I actually hate those ties.
I it's very
It's very cowboy.
Texish. It's very cowboyish. Yeah,
But like generally, I actually really like. I've said the pretty sure I've said this on the show before, but like I really like westerns, and like I kind of like the whole cowboy aesthetic.
yeah.
But not that. That's more like rich, like rancher, like
That's
cowboy look.
rancher.
Yeah,
That's well said. That's
yeah.
rancher. Yeah.
Whereas like I'm more like the Clint Eastwood type cowboy.
Yeah. We liking Western movies is different than liking people that want to be cowboys.
Right. But like I
Uh,
mean I like the hat, like the look of like the hat and like the duster and like the
yeah.
boots and everything, but yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Um, well, wouldn't you know it? It starts going around that there is a bounty put out by Mr. Swayze himself for the capture of Bubbles, and Leahy finds the bounty, as well as the most of the people in the trailer park.
Right.
And Leahy and Randy are on the roof of Ricky's place, and he pulls a gun on them. He's so shit faced, like he can't even aim his gun properly, and his fingers on the fucking trigger, like with safety off. Guns, people get shot a lot. It's usually Ricky. Like, Ricky's been shot. I don't know how many like
I
times,
know
but it's
I
always
think
in the leg or the ass or the shoulder or
it's
something.
usually the leg or the ass, yeah.
And it's become such a running joke that it's like pain in the ass. They have a friend who he's the vet, but he's like a veterinarian. But I think it's revealed later that he's not even a real veterinarian. That they pay in like weed or something like that to like remove the bullets, like out of them, and like it goes to show though, like you get hit by like a 9mm in like a meaty chunk of you, you're probably going to be fine.
There's a lot of things in this show where they like basically they pay in like favors.
The barter system is strong in the trailer park
Yeah, yeah.
boys. Whether it's like booze, whether it's a place to sleep, whether it's in quid pro quo, right? Like you owe me one, like kind of thing.
I think in one episode they're like Ricky, like someone convinced Ricky to do something because they gave him like a really nice like fucking lamp for his car that he sleeps in.
And the lamp stays in his car for like seasons.
Yeah. It's
So what? I forgot about that. It's a nice fucking lamp. Because oh yeah, for the longest time he's just sleeping in his car,
yeah.
which and then it stops running for a season, and
And he's still sleeping in it because it's
the
all he
dredges,
has.
man. It doesn't have any. It loses its doors at some point.
Yeah.
At some point it doesn't even run, but they like use it like a sleigh, right? Like they like push it around. So there's a subplot in this that I'm really intrigued.
I think there was another episode too where they steal an ATM machine but then can't figure out how to get it open.
Oh my god, was that the movie or was that an episode? Yeah, I
And like they
recall
were
that,
caught on like surveillance footage that it was them.
it's
Like,
very clearly them. Yeah.
stealing the ATM.
And a common occurrence between seasons is they go back to jail at the end of a season.
Right, right. I completely forgot about that. At the end of every season, they always end up going back to jail. And then, the next season begins with them getting out.
Getting out. And there's a like welcome welcome home like party for them getting back out.
Yeah.
And then that whatever that season's like heist is,
which will
then
usually
begins.
involve like Ricky like coming back, and then like Lucy will already be like pissed off at him about something.
But then and then him wanting to like make things right.
Yeah.
which inevitably is him coming up with a scheme. And Julian could make his life infinitely better all the time, but he believes in Ricky.
Yeah.
Like, there's something about
Like Julian's a fairly smart guy, and he's like he's definitely the most level-headed of the bunch. Like his
Yeah.
life would be infinitely better if he just didn't hang out with either of them.
but he defends and believes in Ricky. That is, it's heartwarming when you start actually getting into the show, and Ricky wanting to be a good role model for not just his daughter, but like the other kids and his like apprentices and the youth in like the group, to the point where he will give up um he will he will give up all the money from a successful heist in order to do something for like the kids or his daughter or someone else,
But
or get caught by police so that someone else doesn't get busted, and like
But
he'll
the-
take the blame.
but then conversely, he treats what are their names?
Oh my
Those
god.
two young guys. Like
Corey and
he treats them like shit.
um and he always,
Corey
whenever
and
he
Trevor.
meets them,
Corey and
Corey
Trevor.
and Trevor, thank you. Corey and Trevor are young adults who really look up to Ricky and Julian. Ricky exploits them and the group as whole, but
Mostly Ricky.
but mostly Ricky. And one of the things he always does is he smacks him on like the chest or shoulder, and he's like, "Smokes, let's go."
Yeah.
And they like, pat themselves down and come up with like 2 smokes. So like the entry fee for coming and talking to Ricky because they look up to him is giving him a couple smokes, and they get busted and they take the blame, and they are the brunt of Ricky's Rickyisms so much.
I'm gonna share a little. This just reminded me of something. I'm gonna share a little anecdote here. I was with a buddy of mine many years ago now. A person who, as I mentioned earlier, he's the person that I mentioned. Like Ricky reminds me of, like 1-to-1.
That's kind of scary.
I know. He went and picked up a streetwalker downtown and like wanted a blowjob from her.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And I remember I was standing there while this was going on. We were just like walking around at night, like downtown drinking.
Uh-huh.
And well, first like he wanted to like get laid. And he was like, "Oh, how much?" And she's like, "Oh, $40." And he's like, "Well, how much for head?" And she's like, "Oh, I don't, like 20." And he's like, "Look, I don't got that kind of cash on me right now." And her response, shit you not, was, "Do you got any smokes?" And then he did, and he had some weed on him. And indeed, he like took her around behind a building and boned her.
Well, you just like hung out on the front of the building?
No, me and the other person that
Like, went
was hanging
home?
out with us, we just left.
Yeah.
Like we went down the street and just like kept doing what we were doing, and he caught up with us eventually.
He caught up with us eventually. So 15 minutes later, I
Yeah,
dare
about
say
that.
worse than Ricky. That's truly.
Do you got
Truly,
any smokes?
You got any smokes? And long story short, they're getting married next week. Worst case Ontario, we go back to
To selling dope.
selling dope. So there's this thing that the internet likes to call Rickyisms.
I've heard of this, yeah.
They're things that Ricky says on the show that are like common sayings, but they're not quite right. Like worst case Ontario.
Yeah.
That one's just funny. Canadians say that probably because of Ricky. on the show.
I say worst case Ontario. We just go back to selling dope in reference to the show.
I've met people who don't know that's from Trailer Park Boys.
Really?
And if it's not, like if they got it from somewhere, then let me know. But like what does he say? You know what, Leahy? What goes around is all around.
Yeah.
Like
He said he always that's one of Ricky's character traits too, is that he always fucks up idioms.
idioms, yeah. Um, what is another one he says? Like yeah, all for one and one for one. A link is only as long as your longest strong chain.
Amazing.
Americans calls Americans Americans.
Yep.
There's an N in there for some reason. He says a toe to so, like a toe to so instead of I told you so. He turns it into one word.
A toe to so.
Like instead of saying I gonna, like I'm going to, or some people say gonna, Gonna, gonna. He says a toe to so for I told you so. I've got a list here. Hey, don't buttercoat it for me. Give me the truth. Sugar.
Yeah. These are hilarious. Continue.
Instead of a carburetor for like a vehicle, a carbonator.
Yeah.
Yeah. He calls VCRs, which, and yes, if it feels out of time, there's a reason. Everything's like a decade old, at least in the trailer park.
VCRs were still really common though.
Yeah.
In the
they steal them and pawn them
in the early to mid 2000s. Yeah.
We're gonna have an outright civilian war on our hands here instead of civil war. Instead of trial and error, denial and error. What else we got? Does a bear shit on the Pope? So he's combining as the Pope Catholic, and does a bear shit in the woods?
Does a bear shit on the Pope?
It comes up here and there, but one of the things, hey, will you marry me? Some of the things he bugs Lucy about all the time. Hey, do you want to get married by me? Just we dressed all over. Those are his favorite chips. He means all dressed?
Dressed all over.
Which is another Canadian.
Which is a very Canadian thing, because all dressed is a Canadian flavor. Which, American listeners, if you've never had all dressed chips, Ruffles all dressed in particular.
I hate them. It's for particular taste. I hate them. Some people love them.
I'm a big fan.
Instead of fill your boots, fill my feet. Right, like take as much as you want or whatever.
Yeah.
Never again. He's like ever again for some reason. Instead of saying the word, this is one I know. Instead of saying the word scapegoat, he's like, oh, I'm tired of using bubbles as an scapegoat.
Yeah, I remember.
Which, to be fair, that growing up, I met people a dumbulance instead of an ambulance. What other? Insurance frog. Identity frog.
Identity frog. I used to have a friend years ago. He's actually dead now. But I had a friend years ago, back around this time, like early to mid 2000s, who actually spoke like Ricky a lot. This is not the same guy who like fucked the hooker for
I think
smokes.
I actually know who this one is, though. Yeah.
Maybe.
You've talked about him, yeah.
But yeah, he actually spoke like Ricky a lot. Like he would fuck up like phrases and whatnot all the time. Like
I did
just
when I was younger.
with utter earnest, and I would like correct him on it, and he would be like, "What? No," and he would argue about it. One of his things though was he would always pronounce the word, and this drove me nuts. He would pronounce the word yogurt.
That's a Rickyism for sure. Yogurt.
Yogurt. He would always just say, "Oh yeah, say to like his girlfriend, like, oh, can you get me some like peach yogurt?" And I'm like, "It's yogurt." He's like, "No, it's yogurt."
Oh man, there was a kid that called acorns acrons.
Acrons.
Yeah, you know those like nuts that like squirrels like acrons. And this is probably the most famous Rickyism that people know. Get two birds stoned at once.
Nice.
Instead of kill two birds with one stone.
Yeah.
He'll say gorilla see, gorilla do.
That one I kind of approve of.
Gorilla see, gorilla do. You know what? That might
I actually like that one.
Or Gary see, Gary do.
Gary see, Gary do. Yeah.
I like that one. Oh, instead of hold your horses, he says hang your hoses. Hang your hose. Oh, well, that would kind of make sense because in the trailer, you fold up your garden hose and you hang it on like this lip.
Slow your noses.
Slow your noses. Hang your hoses. Indianapolis Jones.
Amazing.
Yeah, and it goes on and on. Like there's so many seasons. Like go search. Like there's a trailer park like wiki, and you can just go on the wiki. Yeah, I beg to be different, buddy, but I disagree. Instead of beg to differ.
I might actually go back and start watching the show again from the beginning.
Because each season is a story. And to
Yeah.
come in on episode 8 when there's like 12 episodes in, we don't know. There's, by the way, everyone, there's a subplot to this where Bubbles regresses and he has repressed childhood memories of a fucking puppet that he used to be obsessed over. And his identity, do you remember that? The creepy fucking puppet in his flashbacks?
No, I don't remember that
When they
at
first
all.
oh, there you go. There's like a B or C plot, and there's a creepy what's it called when you ventriloquist dummy.
Oh yeah.
And they have hints about wanting to go and find it. And when I looked up the episodes, they fucking find it in like a swamp or something, and it's fucking horrific. Like that actually seems like a really fun episode to watch. So
Well, that's not the one we landed on, unfortunately.
it's you need to watch the whole of any one season.
Yeah, so I might actually, because I was watching
Julian shot him, by the way.
when I was watching this, after it was over, I'm like, because I didn't find a lot of it terribly funny, so I was kind of left wondering. I'm like, am I just like too confused about what's going on in the plot, or have I just outgrown this show's sense of humor? And I'm still not entirely sure.
That's a fair. I would go back and maybe start a season, like a later season, and see if you're still in on it, or start it from the beginning if you appreciate like that kind of thing. But for me, it's landing in the middle of like multiple plots moving late into a season with multiple plot moving. And
Right.
I don't think it's a matter of me growing like out of it. I think I appreciate it more as an adult. When this was coming out, when I was a young adult and a teenager, I didn't appreciate it. I didn't understand. I thought it was dumb.
Oh, I thought this shit was hilarious back
Yeah,
in the like early to mid 2000s.
I didn't, and I started watching it from the beginning. I think we only watched season 1 and 2 or something like that with my partner, and we were like, "Holy shit, this is good." I'll let you be if you actually end up going and watching it. I'm curious what your take is on it.
Yeah, maybe I'll like put it on in the background or something while I'm cooking dinner.
Yeah, we're home trees, boys.
Or home
No.
trees.
Instead of home free. Yeah. I'm gonna take Gary C, Gary do. I'm for stealing that one.
I like that one.
Yeah. I'm getting the hank like this. Instead of I'm getting the hang of it.
Yeah.
Getting the hank like this. I still think getting 2 birds stoned at once is like the most famous Rickyism.
Getting 2 birds stoned at once. And I mean, if I start this again from the beginning, I do end up sticking with it. I've never seen any of the Netflix stuff.
Neither have I.
So,
Oh, except like the movies. So there we go. That could be exciting. Oh, wait a second. If we're viewing that as something different and you get back into it, what you're saying is in a future episode, we might visit Netflix's revival.
we could, yeah. Maybe.
But that's if we end up like if we find that we end up liking it.
That's a big if. I'm committing.
We'll see.
This is going to be public record when this episode goes live. I'm committing to at least like trying to give Trailer Park Boys another shot today.
There we go. It's on record, folks.
Yeah. Today. What is today? It's whatever day it is when you're listening to this.
It's or did we miss it? Is that a meme or is it real that there was a trans visibility day in the US?
It's
real or was
worldwide, but yeah,
Oh,
that was real.
worldwide?
It was yesterday.
Okay. I saw like memes about it. And it
I
was
shared
like,
a whole bunch of stuff.
yeah, it was like Biden declares like um February 30th trans visibility day.
March 31st. Yeah,
Or sorry, March 31st.
conservatives were mad that Trans Day of Visibility, which has been March 31st since 2009,
And I was
might
going to
add.
say that's been around for a while. So why was I seeing images of Biden? Is it just because he addressed it?
He addressed it, and conservatives are using this as ammunition to attack him, saying that he specifically decided to address it because it was Easter, and that was an attack on Christians and conservatives, even though the White House has been addressing it for like the past like several years now.
Oh, oh, there you go. So I only learned this yesterday. How do you think Easter weekend's determined?
I actually don't know.
I learned this yesterday because I asked my partner, and we were like, "We, that's a good question." The spring, like equinox, so
Right.
like the 21st ish, right? The first full moon after the spring equinox, the first weekend after the first full moon after the, and that's why it's in April sometimes.
Who the fuck came up with this?
Pagans. That is the most no, that's the
No,
most
I
pagan
believe-
shit like ever.
I believe you, but like,
it's-
why are Christians so much are so like this is our shit?
And now it's rabbits and chocolate eggs, assholes. And Jesus coming back from the dead.
And Jesus, like Superman, punching his way out of
Punching
the
his way
ground,
out of the ground,
and
the
flying
cave.
around and like fucking eye lasering, like.
That's how I
people.
picture it. And they're like, holy shit, we need to make a day about this. What are we gonna do? We're trying to convert the pagans, right? Let's steal their Easter.
He just Superman's his way, punches his way like out of the grave, and like flies.
I love
up.
that imagery.
And he
Rocks
just-
flying everywhere.
He just like looks over at Rome, and he's all like, "Those motherfuckers," and like Sonic booms his way.
Oh,
over
there's like
there.
a sonic boom.
and like eye lasers Pontius Pilate.
So one of the times Rome was sacked,
Crucify
Ju-
this.
crucify this. Crucify this, non-believers. Cuts through like the temple of Artemis.
We just immediately made Jesus like 50 times cooler.
I like the other day I saw a guy with a Jesus Saves t-shirt, and he was a goalie, like catching like a hockey puck, and I was like, I love that, the Jesus Saves shit. I've seen other Jesus Saves ones that
It
are
would
like,
be even
he's
funnier if it was like Jesus as like a Latino. Jesus saves.
Jesus Saves. Like, one of the funniest, it's Easter weekend, we're allowed to talk about Easter. One of the funniest like Jesus jokes I've ever seen was in 21 Jump Street, when Jonah, I can't remember his name, Jonah Hill, like gets down and he's like, hey, Korean Jesus, I don't know if like I'm allowed to like pray to you because I'm like not Korean, but well, here goes. And he like wants everything to work out, and he's like, oh, I really hated high school the first time I went, so please make this not suck having to go back again. How do you end these? The end? The end? Is that how you? And like Ice, I was gonna say Ice T. Ice Cube like slams open his office window and he's like, hey, quit fucking with Korean Jesus. He busy with Korean shit. So I love the idea that like wherever Christianity has embedded itself, there's that country's version of Jesus, and that they're actually different. Like, I love the idea of Indian Jesus and like African Jesus and like Korean Jesus, and like you said, like, oh, South American countries, super Christian. Oh, they fucking like love, like in Brazil,
Yeah.
like with the giant what's the giant Jesus statue? So fucking terrible. With one of the New World Wonders, giant Jesus statue. It's in Rio de Janeiro.
I like to imagine Norwegian Jesus just has like looks like something out of Immortal with the corpse paint, and he just like comes in like
He's got
shredding.
beads. He's got
Yeah.
beads like in his like beard.
He just comes in like shredding, like.
Rise from the dead. Like Metalocalypse, fucking. Yeah, Christ the Redeemer in Portuguese. Oh, right, they speak Portuguese. Holy
Christ the
shit, that is a
Redeemer
bit.
actually sounds kind of badass.
Christ the Redeemer. How's that for an album? First album. Isn't that a skateboard move? Christ Air. Oh, fuck. Cristo Redentor, created by the French Polish sculptor. Well, there you go.
The version we
Rio
made
de
up is
Janeiro.
just straight up Super Christ.
I like Super Christ coming to like fucking laser all of like the Roman temples and shit. Like Zeus, that sounds like false idols. Just flying around.
He's got a cross on his like super suit, and they're like, "Oh, it looks like a T," and he's like, "It to my people, it means hope."
10 out of 10. To my people, it means hope. Oh man, what a this is a and there you go. See, you learned something. Not only did we review sort of a Trailer Park Boys episode, you learned that the first weekend after the full moon following the spring equinox is when Easter is held. And that's why sometimes it's in March and sometimes it's in April.
And then
who thought of that? The pagans. All of the Christian holidays are them trying to like steal pagan holidays.
Well, yeah, it's because when they were like spreading through Scandinavia, when Christianity was spreading through Scandinavia, and they were basically like, well, convert or die, or it was either that or like a lot of like political maneuvers between like the British kingdom.
It wore its way in, yeah,
and like whoever the monarch of a particular like Scandinavian country was.
Right, because they started adopting singular rulers and
right. Yeah, it was a lot of the time
down effect. You get the kings sucking the blood of Christ, and then the rest
a lot of the time it was very much like like I said, like a political thing. Like anyway. But yeah,
short, worst case Ontario, there's a lot of Brazilian Catholics.
One of the reasons why so many, like basically every Christian holiday is similar to a pagan holiday is because it was a lot easier to get people to convert if they could basically keep up their same traditions, but like just change a few things.
And that's why even to how everything's become like Hallmark holidays, like a lot of people don't realize like Christmas with presents and the trees and everything, and Santa Claus in particular, was invented by Coca-Cola. I didn't realize that was mostly spread in America during a Coca-Cola. There is like
I was going to say
Nicholas.
Yeah, Saint Nick. It does draw on the legend of Saint Nick. Also, on the subject of Christmas, if you haven't seen it, the Netflix animated film came out about 5 years ago now. Klaus, legit won a modern Christmas classic.
Why does that sound familiar? Did I watch that? 2019. Right. That one was apparently really good.
It's really good. I've watched it a few times now.
There's like 3 people who've told me to watch this.
Really good. You will cry a lot. Like not sad, happy cry. Yeah, you will happy cry.
Oh, I will. I've made peace with my masculinity and my emotions, and it's one of those things.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, oh, okay, yeah, I will.
And it has a very, very sweet ending.
Instant holiday classic, you say?
Yeah, this is a movie that I will watch basically every Christmas for the rest of my life.
Oh shit. Okay, that's high praise. And speaking of praising things, should we rating things?
Yeah, here on the Lasercomb podcast, we like to ask each other a little question at the end of every episode. And I will postulate this question to you, good sir. Cal, you just caught a random episode of Trailer Park Boys. Would you tune in next time?
So standalone, this episode is not great to come into, but
No.
it does just have enough where I'm curious what the fuck is happening. So I would.
Okay. If I'm looking at this as someone who has never seen Trailer Park Boys before, and this is
Right,
the
like
first episode that
taking it just in a bubble.
this is the first episode that I'm coming into. No, I wouldn't.
And I respect that because it's a lot of the humor is meta enough, especially into season like 5. Um and it's late enough in the season where it's like if you don't know what you're getting into, it's hard to appreciate it or understand.
I also didn't laugh a lot at many of the jokes in this episode, which is a big problem.
That's fair. I don't think it's exceptional in that regard. I did a few times, but it was stuff like, hey, use this tape.
This is my good tape. Yeah, yeah.
So don't lose it. And the guy like using it and he's like, oh, this is good tape. Like that to me is really funny.
Yeah.
But it's they're funnier. Yeah, they're definitely.
So, yeah, this episode on its own, no, I wouldn't. But because I've seen the show quite a bit over the years, and like
Yeah.
I know that I have some degree of reverence for it, I actually am gonna go back
Me-
and
I
try
as well.
watching through it.
I'm gonna check it out. Do you know if all the seasons are moved onto Netflix or
All
just
of them are, yeah.
Whoa. Perhaps I should go and streamy weemy.
Perhaps.
Well, you heard it first here, boys. You gotta pack up, get going.
Well, that was episode 84 of the Lasercomb podcast. Best way to support the show is to go to patreon.com/lasercomb, LAZORCOMB. We're starting at the $5 tier. You get a bonus Patreon exclusive podcast, the Super Lasercomb Patreon Super Show. You get the occasional commentary track. You get to pick a show for us to review a random episode of on this very podcast. So if you want to get in on that, go to patreon.com/lasercomb. Social media, we don't really do that so much anymore these days. At least not publicly. Like I still have Facebook for people that I know, but what you can do though if you want to interact with us is join the Discord. Link in the description. Best way to reach us.
Yeah, if you want to see me on TikTok, I think I have the most liked thing I have on TikTok is with my cat instead of me. So take that as you will. Neo_Cal on TikTok. But the Discord.
The internet
actually
loves
like
cats.
the Discord. We actually like talk every day, like on the Discord. And what else? If you're into like let's plays, like RPGs and stuff, like Dimension 20 or Critical Role, that kind of thing, I'm on Dork Tales on Wednesday night, playing Vampire the Masquerade. But this one's Dark Ages, so we started in 1198.
Oh,
Which, if I recall, is after Europe started being ransacked by Vikings. Oh no, I haven't ran into any Vikings yet because we're in Transylvania.
1198.
No, that's later.
That's
Christianity
later.
is already permeating into the. Yeah, they calmed
because
down.
the Vikings
have calmed down
conquered England in 1066.
way earlier. So by now, that's been stemmed, and armies have recruited Vikings, and Christianity has spread. Right.
Yeah.
We missed it.
Well, speaking of missing things, we will be back next time with episode 85 of the Lasercomb podcast, where we're going to be talking about another Canadian comedy classic, Letterkenny. This is also going to be officially the newest show we have ever reviewed on this podcast.
Oh, because it's finished recently.
Because Letterkenny just ended its run at the end of 2023. So this is 100% like the newest thing we've ever talked about.
All right, we're going in. This is exciting because one of us has watched some and the other has watched a lot.
I have watched all of it.
Well, even so, you really like Shoresy.
I do really like Shoresy. I actually like Shoresy more than Letterkenny because here's the thing with Letterkenny. Letterkenny is like basically there's a plot to each episode, but it's basically a series of just vignettes of people
It
like
is.
bantering. Whereas Shorzy has an actual plot. Like
Right. It's moved from that format of vignettes and kind of like side shots of somebody explaining something to the camera. And moves to a
an actual like serialized narrative.
I could see why that would be better. Yeah.
So to find out what episode of Letterkenny we're going to be watching, I'm going to go to the old trusty random number generator and hit screen share.
I wonder how Americans feel of the show. If they like it or if it's just weird. Because this, like Trailer Park Boys, more so, I would say, this is very Canadian.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. Before I actually started watching Letterkenny, Ricky from Internet Today, I remember he was praising it because it like would be like it would air in Canada on Crave because it's a Crave original, which Crave is a Canadian exclusive streaming service. But they also had to deal with Hulu in the US.
Oh right, yeah.
So as it was airing in Canada on Crave, it would also air on Hulu as well, either day and date or shortly thereafter. So 81 episodes. So one random number between 1 and 81. Here we go. And settle down. 56.
56.
That is season 9. Kids with problems. Kids with problems are given important life lessons and hot dogs.
Well, that sounds like a great episode.
Original release date December 25th of 2020. Okay, well.
Season 9. Wow, a lot of seasons.
Yeah, there's 12 in total.
Okay, I see. So there's a lot of seasons, but not that many episodes per.
Yeah, only 6 episodes per season.
We both have a cat in our windows here.
I remember. Oh yeah, stopping screen share. I remember season 9 actually being really good, so this is probably going to be a decent episode.
Hell yeah. Yeah,
Well,
bud.
Well, and on that note, we will be back next time with that episode of Letterkenny. And until then, I have been The Siege, one of your hosts.
And I'm NeoCal with Apollo. Oh, nope, he's gone.
Well, and until next time, worst case Ontario, we just go back to selling dope.
That's right, buddy. And don't forget to hug your kitty.
Bye-bye.